Hey guys, it's Neko here. I'm a big fan of guest characters in fighting games, so I usually make videos discussing the topic for different fighting games. I've never made a video like this for a Dragon Ball game though, because unlike Mortal Kombat where we get to see the likes of Jason Voorhees and the Terminator, Dragon Ball games have never really been known to bring in outside characters. There have been some instances, which I'll cover in this video, as well as characters I think that are worth mentioning. Before I get into the video, I want to explain how Aurelie and Jocko are a bit different than the rest of the characters on my list. While yes, Aurelie does appear in Dragon Ball and Jocko appears in Dragon Ball Super, they are both characters that originated in different manga created by Akira Toriyama, so I still count them as guests, even though not in a traditional sense. Aurelie was playable in Budokai Tenkaichi 3, so I see her having a better chance at appearing in Sparking Zero than the others. With that out of the way, let's begin. At first glance, it's pretty unlikely that we'll get any guests in Sparking Zero, but not totally impossible. Aurelie and Jocko are the highest possibilities in my opinion, but since they actually appear in Dragon Ball, they don't feel like true 100% guests. So what other options could there be if we ever see another outside character? Well, my first thought is that it would most likely be another character created by Akira Toriyama. The legend created a lot of manga series and characters in his active years. Not long before he passed away, he put out a new series called SandLand, and while I haven't gotten the chance to watch it yet, I think it would be a cool touch if we saw the main protagonist, Beelzebub, as a playable character. Another Akira original that's a contender is Neko Majin Z, who's from a parody manga of the Dragon Ball series. So even though Neko Majin Z hasn't appeared in the Dragon Ball universe directly, aside from a few Japanese exclusive cameos in the games, his manga is connected to the series, with his mentor even being Goku himself. Now, if there was any guest character that I could see being added to Sparking Zero that wasn't created by Akira, it would be Luffy from One Piece, and that's for a few different reasons. The first reason is how popular One Piece is in Japan, and the second, and most important reason, is that Dragon Ball and One Piece have already had multiple collaborations, and I'm not even talking about the Shonen Jump crossover games. The first crossover was a manga worked on by both One Piece and Dragon Ball creators, titled Cross Epoch. It's a very silly, non-canon crossover, but still worth mentioning nonetheless. Up next, a plug-in TV game crossover between the two series titled Dragon Ball Z x One Piece Battle Experience. Then there was the more known anime crossover years later, which was between Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, and Toriko. Finally, One Piece Great Pirate Coliseum and Dragon Ball Z Extreme Butoden on the 3DS had a really cool companion aspect built in. While on their own they weren't a crossover, both games were developed by the same studio, so the devs added a crossplay mechanic in a post-launch patch that made it so you could pit Luffy up against Goku, or Vegeta up against Zoro, and etc. Those are just the crossovers I know about, and that's not including the fact Oda has drawn Dragon Ball tributes and Toriyama has drawn One Piece tributes. They're clearly both big fans of each other's work. I haven't watched a lot of One Piece, but from what I've seen, he's a rubber man with badass abilities, transformations, and everything else he needs to be a kick-ass character in a Dragon Ball game. So if any outsider is going to appear in Sparking Zero, I think it could be, and should be, Luffy. While not as many crossovers with Dragon Ball, Naruto had a small cosmetic crossover in Battle of Z, where you could get a Sage Mode costume for Goku, and in Ninja Storm 3, you could get Goku's clothes as a costume for Naruto. I don't think that'll end up going anywhere, but I just thought it was worth mentioning. If I could pick any guest to appear in Sparking Zero, I'd have to pick Yusuke from Yu Yu Hakusho. I love that anime, and it always gave me Dragon Ball Z vibes. He'd be the perfect fit for the game with his energy attacks and demon transformation, but Yu Yu Hakusho ended in 1994, and yeah, it's had a few specials over the years, but ultimately it hasn't been very relevant. I think the closest thing I'll get to that is Jump Force. And those have been my thoughts on potential guests that could appear in a Dragon Ball Z game. I still don't find them very likely, but never say never. I wouldn't be upset if we got any, but at the same time, there's so many characters in the vast universe of Dragon Ball that could get in before they reach into other worlds. What are your thoughts, and who would you like to see? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, this has been Nickfamous. See you later.